You're about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So, I might have messed up my marriage just a touch. I don't really talk to you guys much about my marriage with my husband because I don't think you guys really give a damn. I mean, it's kind of, personal. And me, sometimes I could get kind of graphic about stuff and very detailed. So I don't really go into my marriage, but I'm in a little bit of trouble. So I like a little advice. One thing, my husband and I have been married for many years. I think, 20, oh gosh, this would be the 28th year? Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've been married almost 28 years. Lord of mercy. And, I think we're incompatible on something, and it's starting to kind of veer its face more and more. And it has to do with the TV, and it has to do with TV behavior. And so we're okay. I kissed him this morning. We're all good for now, but there's this elephant in the room that we need to talk about. It's not that I'm looking like an elephant. It's that the TV issue. So I'm watching the debate, which we'll talk about. Not the debate. We're watching the press conference yesterday. And there's a few things that is making us TV incompatible. But yesterday, we're just watching, and I'm trying to listen, and Biden says something, and my husband likes to provide commentary. Now, you would think, him being the man, his commentary would be a little less loquacious than my commentary. But no, my husband, has opinions. And he will speak more than one or two lines, sentences, or words, and it'll almost be a paragraph. So I'm trying to not listen to him so I could listen to, what is being said that prompted him into said commentary. And he doesn't stop talking. And I'm trying to listen. And so when this happens during a TV show, I will pause it. And I notice he doesn't like that. When I pause it to listen to him, which I think is the best way to handle it, because it shows, okay, I really want to listen to what you have to say. So I'm going to pause it and all attention on you. In this particular case, I wanted to watch it in real time. So instead, I took the remote and I just raised up the volume. I raised up the volume to drown out said commentary. Now, he didn't like that. And he got up and he left the room. Now, I didn't mind him leaving the room because then I could finish watching. Because again, I'm watching this not for fun and not for entertainment. I'm watching it for work. So I could report on it the next day. And I think he really got insulted. And I know some of you are like, no big deal. It is a big deal. Because, for me, I'm like, it's not a big deal. I wanted to hear whatever. I'm still fairly decent in bed. I think I could save the marriage. But no, the thing is what I think I told him when I raised the volume of the TV to drown him out is that his opinion not only isn't wanted, but is a negative and is a distraction such that I need to squat. Not that I don't even know what the content of his commentary was. I just didn't want to hear commentary. Now, do I do the same thing? Yeah, but when I do it, I don't see it being a problem. So, my mistake, my issue with TV is we'll be watching something and I will recognize a star. And I will tell my husband where he's seen that star before. And because I don't know how to prioritize, movies such as IMDb puts it in chronological order, I will list every single movie or TV show we saw that person in. Well, by the time I finish explaining where we saw that, character in, or that actor in, we're already on the next scene. And then he's like, who were you talking about? So then I have to rewind and I have to point to the person. Now, my husband's a good man. He feigns interest. He's actually like, oh, wow, thank you for telling me. Now, he's probably thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I wasting his time? Well, because here's the third issue of incompatibility, okay? If my husband is not interested in the show that I am, it's a distraction. And I feel like there's a pressure on me to keep him engaged in the TV show so that I could get through it. And so one engaging element is you liked this actor. I know you might not like this show and you might not really like this scene and you're sitting there kind of breathing heavy because, it's going on forever and you really aren't liking the show. But remember, that guy was in Lord of the Rings. Or this person was in True Blood. Or, oh, okay. And I keep him engaged and then he'll watch a little bit more. And we usually like the same shows. We're really very compatible on that. But every now and then, like I started to watch the heat is on the Beverly Hills Cop. So Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is the new one. So we're watching it. And he walks out. I didn't do anything to the remote. It just, maybe he had something else to do, but it didn't keep his interest. Now, me, anything from the 80s, nostalgia, right? And then the neutron dance, right? Woo, and then so I've only really got to watch about 30 minutes because he got up and left. And then, I was like, well, why don't I work? And so I did some other stuff. But, I want to be able to see movies with him and TV shows with him. It's okay. It's totally okay to have your own entertainment and you watch one show and they watch another. But, problem is I don't want my marriage over, us not being able to, be compatible. Personally, when I do watch a show by myself, sometimes that backfires. And he's like, you watched without me? Like, remember when Game of Thrones would release on Sundays, but if you couldn't watch Sunday night, you would be sitting there Monday morning just waiting for husband or somebody to come home so you guys could watch it together. I'd start watching it. I was like, and then I would pretend that I didn't see the show. And then, of course, I'd be like, oh, yeah, this happens next. So I'll work on our marriage. But TV incompatibility is a thing. I'm telling you, it's a thing. 1-877 Doc Daliah.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Daliah. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our Fantasy Football Pocket Guide for Beginners found on Amazon or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. And big thanks to Daniel, our producer. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So the Biden press conference, I'm going to be honest. He did better than expected. But it's he's no Obama. He's no Bill Clinton. He's no Trump behind the mic. And it was, again, painfully obvious. We've noticed it for years. Only now other media outlets are talking about it. And, we as America, we don't settle. Okay. An American brand is the best. An American member of the military is the best. An American doctor is the best. So an American commander-in-chief and president should be the best. And how I felt watching him was, okay, he got through that answer. Okay, not bad. Whew. All right, so far so good. And as an American, you want your president to succeed. I might not agree with everything he stands for. I might think his policy on the border is just abysmal. It's horrible. But, I mean, he's at NATO. We have other countries. I'm an American first. And I want our president to look strong. I want him to be healthy. And, every time I watch him up there, it's like, okay, good answer. And you see the political pundits, you see in these in these media outlets going, he answered the question on China well. Okay, you got to be good 24/7. When President Obama would speak, it's like night and day in terms of commanding that room. President Bill Clinton, again, like commanding the room. In fact, with Bill Clinton, it was fascinating. During the 2008 Democratic Convention, my son was maybe, 5, 6 years old. And he's running around. And I think it was during the day that Bill Clinton was speaking on behalf of Obama at the Democratic Convention. And my son's just running around, just playing around, not even paying attention. And I'm watching, and he stops, and he goes, I like that guy. Who is he? And I go, he was the previous president. That was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, who I voted for when I was in college. And he was like, wow, that was, I like him. That wasn't the content, but just that demeanor. If a 6-year-old or 5-year-old kid, right, will stop and turn and listen, okay, that's a good orator. That's a person that could be in command of a room. Doesn't mean they could command a country. I mean, being commander-in-chief, you need a lot of skill. But it's part of the package. Trump gets behind a mic. People listen. Even people who hate him listen. Yeah, what's he going to say? What's he going to say next? Does he make a point? And so with Biden yesterday, it was he did the whispering. I don't know who. I really want to talk to his PR person. I really would, because I don't know who the hell is advising him. But this whispering. Now, mind you, it does catch our attention because we're like, what's wrong with him? What's going on here? But, if you're going to lean in and whisper, okay, that is a move you make when you're going to tell somebody something really good, like maybe some good gossip or some, something hey guys, this is the truth of the matter. Okay, you want to know? Yeah, like World War III is coming. Okay, that is when you whisper. I hope it doesn't, but saying it does. What are you saying? What are you talking about? It just doesn't. Wrongly placed. So now every time I see him getting ready for a whisper, I'm not anticipating something big. When he called President Trump, when he was referring to Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump, or that was again a gaffe. Wouldn't have been that big a deal if he hadn't called Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky President Putin. Now, I having a gaffe once in a while. Mind you, I miscall my sons all the time. I'll call them the wrong names all the time. Where's Stone? Where's Brock? Where's Corey? Where's the dog? I'll mix up the names. It happens. But not at a NATO summit, especially when it's that obvious. I get how, sometimes you could have two guys that look really close alike, so you may call them Bob and George. And former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are two, very different entities. President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky. Two different entities. Now, I get it. And the only reason why I'm a little bit more forgiving than other people is you have Vladimir and Vladimir. Vladimir Zelensky, Vladimir Putin. I get that could make somebody prone for it shouldn't be the commander-in-chief. The point I'm making is we don't shoot for mediocrity. We shoot for the best and the strongest. And Biden did perform. I'm going to give this to him, even with the gaps. Okay, because remember, the bar is already low, but he did perform better than expected. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And then they got him off the stage when the question came up as to, look, if you said you won't run if you don't think you're going to win. The polls are saying you're not going to win. And then they immediately got him off the stage. Another thing that I think was the biggest, though, mess up is he didn't mention the hostages. On the folk number one priority should have been since October 7th, getting the hostages out, including the Americans. We have American hostages in Gaza. And that no mention of the hostages. He mentioned he was disappointed in Israel, and it's interesting. He said that Hamas was losing popularity in Gaza, and CNN fact checked him. CNN actually did a fact check and really slammed Biden, and they said that Hamas is gaining popularity in Gaza. This terrorist group is gaining popularity. And remember, Israel left Gaza in 2005. And so you have a terrorist group that performed one of the most horrific massacres we've seen in modern time on October 7th, still has Americans. And you're at a NATO summit. Your content should be obvious about, we don't tolerate terrorism. We're going to put an end to terrorism. We're going to get our hostages home. None of that. None of that. That was a big misstep. Huge misstep. They also said CNN has been very critical, which, by the way, is to me a whole fascinating concept, because all this time, CNN, MSNBC, these other news outlets have been saying everybody else is off the rocker when it comes to Biden, and they quickly pivot to Trump. Anytime somebody brings up Biden's health and cognitive issues and gaps, we'll just talk about Trump. That's their defense. But CNN was the one that prompted the debate. And then CNN was one of the first to say Biden's got to go when Van Jones was up there in the I think within seconds of the debate. So I think CNN got some sort of memo saying, OK, we need to do something, and we're the ones that are going to do it. I know they've been called the Clinton News Network, but I don't know. But anyway, right after the press conference, there was a fact check. Biden's, quote, false and misleading claims. And they talked about how he wasn't traveling 15 time zones a week before, where he basically traveled 12 days prior to the debate. Trump and NATO. He said that Trump doesn't know anything about NATO. NATO, I just learned about it. Whatever, and they corrected him on that. And so the United Auto Workers endorsed him back in January. They didn't just endorse him. So anyway, and you know what? I don't mind that much if there's a little bit of, okay, because you could always go back and say, I misspoke. Sorry about that. I got the calculation wrong. I said billion instead of trillion. I said whatever. In fact, when you look at the White House document of the press conference, the readout, you even see them put a line. They said that Biden said Vice President Trump, but crossed it out and put in parentheses Harris. And so, I don't mind somebody owning up to that. But again, where's that Obama? Where's Trump? Where's that Clinton? Where is that persona that, he doesn't have that? Throw that on top of all the crap policies. We're in trouble. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So, do you have a lover? Do you have a little flame, little thing on the side? You might not for long, because that might be the only person you could go to. If you have AT&T and you are a part of this text and phone call hack, breach, and leak of private phone call and text messages. I'm telling you, people, you got to really rethink what you're doing with your phones. And people, come on. So this is a very interesting, I don't have AT&T, I have T-Mobile. And honestly, you don't want to see my messages between me and my husband. Not very sexy. Did you take out the garbage? The dog crapped in the house again. Shaky Boo pooped in the piano. I want to see what ends up coming from this, but this is a big one. We are being told that nearly all AT&T customers' data was obtained by hackers. Daily Mail is reporting this is one of the biggest data breaches in U.S. history. They said call and text records of 110 million wireless customers were accessed over a 5-month period in 2022. Now, the customer names might not have been with the text, but the number is, you can easily figure out who that is. And they said that there were publicly available online tools capable of connecting numbers with people's identities. AT&T admitted it had first learned about the hack in April, but is now notifying former and current customers who were impacted. The exposed data was illegally downloaded from a workspace on a third-party cloud platform called Snowflake. And no, it doesn't mean it's owned by Gen Zs. Listen, look, I like Gen Zs, okay? I am going to defend Gen Zs, because my boys are Gen Zs and my nephews, I love the Gen Zs. But I understand every time people see the term snowflake, they, all right, kind of be nice. And law enforcement is now investigating. One person has been arrested. They say the compromised data includes records of calls and texts sent between May and October 2022. The contents of those calls and texts were not accessed, AT&T said, nor personal information such as Social Security numbers. But they said that the information was enough to identify geographic location of multiple individuals. It also included data from January 2nd, 2023 for some customers. AT&T landline customers who interacted with the mobile users could also have been affected. They say a subset of stolen records included one or more cell site identification numbers, which are in unique location-related identifiers linked to there's a typo. They have which is are. See, I'm not the only one that makes typos. They make typo too. Linked to specific cell towers. So AT&T thinks that they have been able to block data from being publicly available, but you got some explaining to do to the missus or the mister if you've been, cheating, or if you've been talking bad about your boss, about the kids. I mean, it's funny. My husband will text me something about, something my son did do or didn't do, and I'm like, idiot. I'm like, I don't mind if they see that because I call them that to their face sometimes. Yeah, when they're younger, no, you don't want to call your kids idiots. But when my sons do something stupid, I'm like, that was stupid. What's wrong with you? Pretty dumb. So, AT&T. I did have an AT&T account. What's interesting is I don't say I want to switch carriers all the time for the free phones, but they keep giving you deals to switch. And I always have issues with where I live in Southern Nevada. We still don't have good, perfect cell service near the mountains and the outskirts. And so I still have issues. And so I'm like, well, maybe this one will be better. Maybe this one will be better. But the meat of this story is that you're very vulnerable. Now, it's my phone. I am not going to talk about a patient and have their identified information on there. I mean, if my job says, says there's it gives me like an ID number and says this person, I kind of remember who the person was. And I could always look up the ID number, but I am never, and I could answer them back, but I'm never going to be putting private or if it looks like it's a private issue, I'm like, I'm going to handle it. Let me go back into the chart and, thank you for letting me know. So you just have that awareness, if you are not, happy with, current politics, you don't text about it. Now, what I think a lot of people are worried about are some of the memes that they send each other. Okay, yeah. You get memes. People send memes all the time. Doesn't mean, you're guilty of creating the meme. I get it. But you got to be really, really careful about the naked pictures. So, I don't understand how the younger generation, I don't know why they're so trusting of computers to sext each other and to send something naked of them. I'm blown away when I hear Gen X's and baby boomers do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You trust, because we're very untrusting of computers because of War Games and Terminator 2 and some of the movies, the net, that we saw. We're like, no, I'm not going to put anything like that. Now, I get it. Some people feel that their boobies look really, really good, or they're very proud. And they're like, I don't care if somebody sees this later in life. But no, it might not get you a job. You might lose a job. You might want to run for office and won't be able to do it. I understand our standards have been a little lower lately, but still. So, I don't know how much I have to, continue to reiterate myself saying, please be careful with what you're putting on your data. But most of our vulnerability is inadvertently being done, where hackers are accessing information about us. Remember I told you got to be very careful with your kids on social media? Because if somebody wants to abduct them or traffic them and they see a video of them, they can, one, they could maybe triangulate their location, but number two is they could tell their location from the outside, from their background. When somebody is sitting there making a video of themselves in Vegas, I know where they are. When you know your city, you pretty much could tell where they are. And there's also clues. They'll look at the background of your child's desk or room and go, oh, they must have bought that at Spencer's, or they must have bought that at this, or they like to go to this store, or they learn you. Remember, we're being hunted. I keep telling you guys that we're being hunted. Now, it might not be literally, like a bear or a lion wanting to eat us. I don't know if bears want to eat us, or a shark, but we're being hunted for a variety of things. One, for our money, two, for our trafficking. Where people are watching us, and it's frightening. And I became aware. I'm not paranoid about it, but I became aware when I started to go on air. And, people would kind of bring up pretty descriptive things about me. And I'm like, okay, I talk a lot on air about my personal stuff, but I've never gone there. Well, it's because they were studying my online presence. Pretty scary. And so, people can become obsessed. And you think, well, I'm not. I remember telling, my husband this. Luckily, no one's going to be obsessed about me. I'm not, I'm no Margot Robbie. Please. Remember, somebody who is going to obsess about somebody else is not of sound mind. So it's going to be, you might be exactly who they want to obsess about. And so we're so vulnerable because we let our phones and we let our social media, we let our computers out us and have us, so exposed. And now I keep hearing people will say, I'm just going to go back to flip phone. I'm going to, shut off my... Society has forced us to now do our banking on our phones, do our navigation on our phones. So we got some thinking to do. 1-877-Daliah.
Considered by most, optimized curcumin is one of the few bioavailable and highly absorbable curcumin products on the market. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch. Since most chronic diseases have inflammation, our optimized curcumin seems to be a perfect addition to any nutritional program. It makes sense to me that preventing or reducing inflammation is a key component to our overall health. The Mayo Clinic found that curcumin can decrease swelling and inflammation, has antioxidant properties, and research suggests that curcumin can prevent cancer, or at least slow the spread of cancer, and in many instances make chemotherapy more effective. It protects our healthy cells even from radiation. TotalWellness.com, where we help you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So do you remember that there was a teenage boy who had died participating in the One Chip Challenge? And I guess this One Chip Challenge is the Packy One Chip Challenge, where you eat a chip that is, I guess, very spicy, has a high level of chili pepper extract. And sadly, he died of cardiopulmonary arrest. Well, the family is now suing. And understandably so, but they're also suing Walgreens, where the chip was sold. And this is just such a tragic case. So Harris Wolobah, 14 years old, on September 1st, 2023, died after participating in Packy's One Chip Challenge. He apparently bought, I guess, the chip, or the chips, whatever it was, at Walgreens. He was a sophomore at Doherty Memorial High School in Massachusetts, according to the Massachusetts Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. And this happened from consuming a high level of chili pepper extract. On July 11th, his mom, Lois, filed a lawsuit with the firm Chef and Cook, and the complaint serves to recover from the conscious pain and suffering and wrongful death. The defendants in this case include Packy, the Hershey Company, Walgreens, and the manager of Walgreens, where the chip that Harris consumed was sold. Now, I've been warning people about high, spice, and there's something that's been going on. What podcast is it, or what show is it, where you answer questions? These stars answer questions while eating chicken wings dipped in very, very hot sauce. And people they're videotaped of them almost crying and turning red. And I remember my boys said, "Oh, that's cool. We need to do the hot sauce challenge." I go, "You got to be out of your flipping mind. Okay, that's not safe. That's not." Well, apparently this challenge involved eating a chip containing Carolina Reaper and Naga Viper peppers. And according to Packy, these are not intended for children. But the complaint alleges that the product was freely accessible to children and that Walgreens never secured the product behind the checkout. So the Wolobah family is demanding a trial by jury on all 29 claims listed in the complaint, which includes negligence and maliciousness. In a news conference, the attorney on July 11th, Douglas Sheff, told media outlets that Harris's parents hope to protect other kids through their legal efforts. They believe that in filing this lawsuit, they're going to ensure that this doesn't happen to other kids. So this Packy One Chip Challenge is packaged in a coffin-shaped box and reads any last words on the inside. So I'm usually, I'm very conservative when it comes to really, why are we suing everybody when it was the fault of the person? But no. In this particular case, that sort of marketing attracts kids. The coffin-shaped box that says any last words, that is right up a teenager's alley. And so, unfortunately, this kid did the challenge and died. The exact cause of death was deemed a cardiopulmonary arrest in the setting of recent ingestion of food substance with high capsaicin. Now, capsaicin, we've talked about, has been used in multiple medical arenas, but it is the root of a lot of spicy condiments. Now, he did. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, wait a second, I eat spicy food all the time. If you remember, we spoke about this last year. He did have an enlarged heart and a congenital heart defect. His family was not aware of the condition at the time of his death. And oftentimes, many kids do not get cardiac full-on cardiac testing. I think every child in sports should at least. I'd like every child to get it. But since nobody wants to listen to me, can we at least start with those kids who are athletes? Because I'm tired of hearing these kids drop on the field because the coach pushed them and they pushed through the shortest of breath or the chest pain or the fatigue, and then they drop. So unfortunately, if a doctor doesn't hear the murmur or doesn't pick up, and it's interesting because these kids don't necessarily have the same pediatrician throughout their whole childhood from birth till 18 like they used to. And so they'll come in, they'll maybe be seen for ear infections or whatever. And unfortunately, if a doctor just, is concentrating on the ear, takes a quick listen to the heart because they think he already had a full physical, these things could get missed. So, if you don't know what your child's heart looks like, even if you do, don't be having them do this stupid stuff. So, how could capsaicin cause this? Well, any shock to the body could trigger something. Your body is not designed to eat super hot, Tabasco sauce, or very hot curry, spicy. Your body was designed to hunt and gather, and however spicy the average nuts are, or fruits, or vegetables, or zebra is what your body is used to. Now your body can adjust, and your body can assess and understand that has a different tang or texture. And most people will not drop eating something a little spicy. But when you take in something spicy, if you notice, you immediately start to rhinate, or your nose starts to run, your eyes may run. For me, spicy food will kind of clear up my sinuses. Why? Because of the vasoconstriction. Immediately, everything clenches up from a vessel standpoint. Well, that puts pressure on the heart. You vasoconstrict, that could cause a cardiac issue. Not to mention, a lot of people will sometimes start coughing, and they'll start that cough and that gas causes a valsalva. A valsalva is an internal pressure. Like when you poop and you strain to poop, that pressure can put extra preload on the heart. If your heart's not ready for it, again, it could go into an arrhythmia or cardiac arrest, or something else. And so, I think a lot of us since COVID have lost our taste. I even notice I start preferring food with a little bit more spice. I used to not be able to handle spice. Now I can handle a 2 to a 4. And my husband's blown away saying, how are you eating spicy? Well, I think because COVID totally messed up my taste. And so I understand a lot of us are starting to hit more to appeal to our taste buds, which is why also we have this epidemic now of heartburn. Because just because you might not taste it doesn't mean your stomach is wanting the extra spice and acid and tang and other things that we're doing. So be aware what your kids are doing. But the one chip challenge, I haven't looked at the package, so I don't know if it has, pediatric warnings. But with the way it looks like a coffin and it you could see it appeals to kids. 1-877 Doc Dolly.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.